It's Sunday morning. Welcome to Breakfast with the Boys. I really appreciate you all getting up with us this morning. There is an OSL game that might be the last OSL game of the season, so I'm going to be there, so I can't be here. So I appreciate everybody getting up early with us and doing this with us. Shawn is noticeably absent, but Shawn is doing summer things, and it is summer. So let him do some summer and enjoy himself. And he'll be back with us next week. And, of course, I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Well, we've had a week and a half, haven't we, in this past week? We've had a little bit of controversy, of course, because it's just not lacrosse without controversy. And we've had a lot of things that have kind of sorted themselves out, and we're into that best time of the summer. And that, of course, is cup time. All the tournaments are happening, and if they're not happening, they're about to happen. And we're talking about the Founders and the Minto starting today. President's Cup is in about a week. And then, of course, we have the biggie, the Stanley Cup of Lacrosse, the Mann Cup, which is into the beginning to mid-September. So this is the time of the year that we all look forward to, where everything is meaningful. Just before we get rolling, though, just a reminder to everybody that all of our shows, of course, are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, also Twitch. Also, you'll catch us on Spotify the very next day. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network. If you've missed a show, no worries. You can catch it all on YouTube, which includes Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, Streampunk Sports, Streampunk Pennsylvania Sports. And they had some big news this week, too. They are now in with the Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. Huge news. And, of course, All Across All the Time. And when you come to All Across All the Time, you will catch our library of shows, interviews, retro games, fights, press conferences, you name it. More happening all the time. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Well, as I stated off the top, there is a lot of things going on. Remember, if you got your Lacrosse Canada TV subscription, you can watch all this stuff. The Carol Patterson Cup just finished. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Right now, we're into the Pan American 6s, U22s. You also have the Founders Cup that's starting in probably about 10 minutes. You also have the Minto Cup, which is in the middle of Game 1 right now, and Victoria is up 1-0. Upcoming, of course, the President's Cup, the draft, the PLL Championship, NLL free agents. All of that that's all upcoming. But the four biggies you have on Lacrosse Canada TV, which is, of course, Patterson Cup that just finished, Founders, Minto, and President's Cup. And what has been told to me is that the medal rounds are free. So check out Lacrosse Canada TV. Now, as I just said, the Carol Patterson Cup just finished in Whitby yesterday, and wow, what a tournament. There were some great play. There was some lopsided scores, but there always will be. But it's funny because Alberta, BC, and Ontario all finished with 4-1 records, and due to goal differential, Ontario wound up in third, and they played Manitoba. And, well, congratulations to Team Ontario with a bronze medal. Game MVPs were Raina Warnell of Ontario and Hallie Harmatiuk of Manitoba. And 20-4 was that score. And in the gold medal game, much closer game, guys. Alberta edged BC 8-7 in an absolutely electric game. This game had just about everything in it. You wouldn't have known men, women, whatever. It was just such a fantastically played game by both sides. Again, MVPs of the game, Ava Pinch for Alberta, Mary McEwen for BC. Fantastic in respective nets. They were just absolutely game savers for both teams. And congratulations to everybody involved in it. Congratulations to the organizers. As you can see, Michelle Boyer in these pictures. As always, when her name is attached to it, I know it's going to be top-notch run. And exactly what it was is what it was. Top-notch run. Fantastic week. Looking forward to it again next year. A fantastic tournament. That, funny enough, is Alberta's fourth championship. First, of course, for the Carol Patterson Cup since its inaugural cup, but the fourth of these type tournaments. So, if we're worried about the middle of Canada, they're becoming a powerhouse quickly. So, you know, just a fantastic thing. Now, again, I mentioned off the top, the Founders Cup is starting up today over in St. John, New Brunswick. Doug Louie is heading that one from Lacrosse, Canada. And, of course, we have the Minto Cup, which is starting up today in Calgary. You will get your coverage with the Minto Cup. Shawn Slaght will take care of that. I will take care of Founders, and away we go. But just to catch us up in the Minto right now, it is Victoria over Calgary, 1-0, early into the game. But this is going to be a great tournament. Just sensational. Between Raiders, Victoria, Calgary, and of course the St. Catharines Athletics, this is going to be a barn burner. I don't think there's going to be a bad game in this tournament. So watch out. Watch out for that. And again, Lacrosse Canada TV, you can catch every game. It is $55 plus tax, so $62 Canadian, much less if you are in the US. Probably like $22, Mike, with the exchange. 62 Canadian dollars, human monies, and away we go. And I'm telling you, great. You know, Matt Carrick did a great job with the Patterson Cup. I know he's going to be in one of these. I mean, he can't be in both of them. So we're going to have great play-by-play going on all over the place. It wouldn't surprise me if Jake Elliott's doing the Minto. So, anyways, Founders Cup. Again, it's slated to go anytime now. And the Seneca War Chiefs are facing the Maverick Elite this morning. This afternoon, you will have St. John Rapids versus the Sackville Wolves. And this evening, you will have the St. John Rapids against the Sackville Wolves. This evening, you have the Port Coquitlam Saints and the Akwesasne Thunder going at it. So get ready for a big tournament here. Strong week ahead of us with all of this going on. It's a great week, man. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to these tournaments all summer long, but you know that they won't disappoint. And we have some different teams in there. Eduardo's with us.
Hey,
Eduardo, good
Thanks
morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us all the way from St. Augustine, Florida. Appreciate it as always. But yeah, I'm telling you, Mike, there's some new teams in it, some fresh blood, so to speak. And I think that we're going to see some things we haven't seen in years past. I don't think anybody's a runaway favorite in any of these tournaments.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Now, let's talk about a bit of field. And, we had a couple of things going on. Number one, and the most important thing is I got 3 points, is that the Women's Championship went off yesterday before we get on with all the PLL stuff. And this game, as Mike has been touting for weeks, would not disappoint. And I was lucky enough to catch it. And my God, what a game. End to end. And if you really want to talk about something that we didn't talk about much, was the Maryland defense. They absolutely shut down the pieces of California that needed to be shut down to win. Because if any or all of them went off, this is a different result.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest one is the biggest one in my book is Emma Lopinto for the Palms. She did not register a shot until the final 30 seconds of the first half. She did get a goal just before the buzzer to pull the Palms within 2 at halftime. They were trailing 9-7. And she did finish with a hat trick for the Palms, but you just as someone who chose the Palms, to win and kind of felt like actually they were the favorite. Uh, you have to wonder if she'd gotten going from the start. How different would this game be?
Oh, I think it would be majorly different. And just her kind of waking up in the end of the game almost topsy turvy this thing. So if you can
Yeah,
imagine another 45 minutes of her being on her game, wow.
yeah. I mean, if anything, picking up the slack for the Palms was Anna Brandt. She had 4 goals on the day and 2 big ones to open the second half, basically to tie the game. But the Charm ended up using. They had 4 different 3 goal runs through the game, and it proved to be the difference. I mean, 2 of them were in the first quarter. It put them up 7-4 after the first quarter, and if you don't count the first quarter, you know it's an even game the rest of the way out, 9-9 over the last 3 quarters. Um, but the third of those runs came right after Brant scored those back-to-back goals to open the second half, and immediately the Charm found themselves up 3 again. The Palms kept fighting, kept getting it within 1, but then another 3 goal run in the fourth quarter kind of sealed the deal for Maryland. Uh, just getting to some of the other scorers. Ali Mastroianni also had a hat trick for California. Ellie Mazara, 2 goals, 2 assists. Sam Geiersbach had a goal and 2 assists. Marie McCool had 3 assists. At the dot, the Palms actually did have just a slight edge. I believe they won 16 out of 31 total for the game. Sammy Joe Adelsberger, 8 of 15, picking up 5 ground balls. And then in net for the Palms, Taylor Moreno had 15 saves, allowing 16 goals. On the other side, for the Charm, Sydney Black, a hat trick in the first half, 4 goals and an assist overall. She was named championship game MVP,
Right.
well deserved. Cassidy Spillis, hat trick and an assist. Alex Holman had a hat trick in this game for the Charm. Bridget Duffy, 2 goals, 2 assists. Allie Kennedy had 2 goals. Erica Evans with a goal.
She had
Ash,
a fantastic game. She was everywhere. Her goal was spectacular, and it was basically the stake in the heart. But
yeah,
she had just a sensational game, just everywhere out there, just being a thorn in the side to all the California defense. Because she was just, anywhere you looked, she was in your face. She was there.
yeah. The Charm have been riding that strength pretty much all season. Just their midfield just is relentless, and their defense plays tough. Ashley Humphrey had 4 assists for the Charm. Sam Apuzzo had 2 assists, and then in net, they went with the game plan they've pretty much used for most of the season. Kaylee Waters played the first half, allowed 7 goals while making 8 saves. Jenica Kuoko taking over in the second half, making 9 saves, allowing just 6 goals for the win. And 3 points for you and for Pat.
I took the basement dweller and put him in first for the time being, but I have time. Time to get myself back to where I belong, in the basement. But yeah, what a hell of a game. And I was so happy. Yesterday was all women's lacrosse all the time for me, because between the Patterson Cup and then watching that was just incredible. And I was elated to watch all of that. And it's just, if we think that, the women's game isn't going to just absolutely take over everything, we are mistaken, because both field and box have become electric. And
Absolutely.
the enthusiasm involved in all of it. I sometimes think that they have it right, and the guys have kind of missed out on this, because sometimes I see the lack of enthusiasm and too much on the nitty picky kind of silly things, and we kind of forgot where we were going. The women still have it clearly in front of them what their goal is, and they are shooting and actually aiming correctly and getting it, and having people like the people in the WLL with the Rabels and the people there, Mastrioni and the rest of those people doing everything. It is amazing, and watching people here like Michelle Boyer and her crew, just incredible people who have done it, seen it, played it, coached it, and now are running it. So you have the correct people there. There's a big thing, hey Mike, having the
Yeah,
correct people there,
absolutely.
which is something we've been harping on a good chunk in, especially in the last month, with men's box lacrosse, especially, and especially over here in Ontario with the festival and a number of other issues that have cropped up. It's having people hands on who have done it and having them run it. Huge difference. And I think Lacrosse Canada is finally getting that message. Hopefully, it'll go down provincially in that respect as well. We don't move quickly, but eventually we seem to get there. And with the women, they seem to have it. And by hope against hope, that they don't change the formula because it's working. That seems to be the MO in lacrosse. When it's working, we change it. Let's, gosh, let's just keep it going this way. It's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I've always been high on with the Rabels and the PLL is they make one or two minor changes every year to test them out to see if they work. If there's any if there's really been any complaint about a change, particularly for this year,
Yeah,
it's sort of been the schedule with just having a break here, a break there.
yeah.
But we've also had world tournaments. They as smartly as they could, they crafted the WLL schedule to allow players to go take part in the World Championships in Tokyo that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
With no breaks or with no games scheduled for those 2 weeks.
Right.
In weeks 11, or sorry, 10 and 11. So it's been.
I'm also one thing with the Rabels too is they're not afraid to admit when they've made an error and will change it and correct it and try and better it. It is their baby, so they're trying to make it as best as they can. And they're going after the sponsorships and after the networks and all the things that we're wishing for the other way around in box. They're going out and doing. And being
Yeah.
that they're in the same strategy as the old Mill League, who, by the way, had the big network with ESPN and had the big arenas with, the places they were playing in the Spectrum and in the Boston Garden and in Buffalo's Memorial Odd and a few other of the bigger arenas. So maybe that formula is not bad.
Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't give us a situation that we have in the NLL with looking for two ownership groups to try and take over two franchises before they fold because the league would own them and just have people in there running them. Solves a few problems.
Yeah, and we've got ourselves about a week and a half maybe left on that.
And we've heard all
Timer
kinds this
before
week,
we
haven't we?
gotta.
We've heard all kinds. Not a word.
Yep.
Not a word other than meh. Asking players, and they can look at you with a blank stare going, oh. Yeah. We're going for training camp. Is there a training? We're looking like Facebook emojis now, right?
Yeah.
But that's for another day and another topic because that just aggravates me the more I think about it. Let's get on to PLL because this didn't go so well for me again. Being an Atlas fan, the pain is over. That's all I can say.
Well, went just fine in pick'ems for all of us.
Yeah, we all it only took me 13 weeks to stop
Pick
picking the Atlas.
the.
So now I start getting things in the correct zone. Um, I want to thank Pat. He couldn't be with us today. He actually just got off here from doing his own regional show in Philadelphia, and he was able to spend the day yesterday at Subaru Park, and he got us a couple of clips from the press conferences and things like that as well. He was there to view these games, and would love to get his take on this, but of course, real life does happen as well. He's got to get to his job. Imagine that. We don't get rich in lacrosse. Who would have thought? His lavish lifestyle. But he was able to cover the game for us, and I appreciate that very much, and all the stuff that he was able to send back, including some of the snips that he's got up on TikTok and as well as on, I believe, Instagram as well. But Mike, talk to me. The Philadelphia Water Dogs. This team is the well, shall we say it's kind of like the New York Lizards of old.
Yeah, I mean, offense from everywhere, obviously. 18-10, this game. I, I don't know. Was it close? Not at all.
Right until the
uh,
national anthem. I think it was 2-0 after the anthem.
yeah, Michael Sowers, uh, just, I mean, you have to consider his MVP case now if you didn't before, and he still has a game to play today. 4 goals and an assist. I believe that's his sixth or seventh straight game with a hat trick or more. I've lost count at this point.
Isn't it amazing what a healthy Michael Sowers can do? What people didn't
Yeah,
realize with the Philadelphia Wings and his not so great showing was he was injured almost from the get go and never really had a chance to get in and line up healthy. And people, oh no, he's no good at pucks. Hey, he's only a few. No, no, a healthy Michael Sowers is a very scary being if you were an opponent, as
yeah,
proven throughout the PLL summer. And he can work in tight just like he can work with space. So I wouldn't worry about that.
definitely. Uh, Josh Yago, big game, 3 goals and an assist. CJ Kirst had a hat trick. He now owns the single season PLL record for goals. Whatever, asterisk or not. I mean,
Isn't that amazing?
at worst, he's tied. If you want to still consider it 10 games, but let's not do the Roger Maris thing here. Kieran McArdle, a goal, 2 assists. You got a goal and an assist from Kyle Lewis. Silas Richmond had a goal and a 2-point goal. Jimmy Freehill had another 2-point goal. So Water Dogs starting to find their mojo behind the arc again. Casey Wilson had a goal. Alex Stathakis, 15 of 28 on faceoffs against Trevor Baptiste and 7 ground balls.
It brings up
So,
that point again, Mike. What's wrong with Trevor Baptiste? This is a guy who would be 27 of 28 just 2 years ago.
yeah,
It's too consistent now for it to be just a, well, maybe he was not well lit.
it is, but
Because it goes back even to the NLL with San Diego and uh, Rowlett basically matching him face off for face off against Toronto, which was their ace in the hole that they would have the extra possessions. And it didn't happen that way, and San Diego wound up watching the finals from home.
yeah, I mean, I guess I question whether it's really injury so much as just these guys are catching up to him, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he and Jake Withers came into the league, they set the bar pretty darn high in
Withers is
the
still
NLL.
Withers is still doing that though. MSL wise, he is untouchable. NLL wise, healthy because don't forget he played with a broken thumb for weeks and still was dominant. Withers is still in that elite class as I would hold to Jeff Snyder years ago, and you know Just like Jeff Snyder, though, off the floor, they're the nicest people in the world. Jake Withers to sit and chat with for a while, and I had him as an interview, and just absolutely, he's a guy you wouldn't mind having over and just, come over for some cake and coffee and let's chat. On the floor, forget about it.
Yeah.
Total Jekyll and Hyde. And Jeff Snyder, the same thing. One of the nicest men I had the pleasure of knowing and having on the show again and interviewing. And on the floor, flip the switch and holy jumping, who is this? And I guess it has to be the mentality as that face-off guy to have that kind of, that grizzly bear attitude. But he's still dominant. Withers, Baptiste not as much. And I'm not sure if it's because he's made his game a little bit more than just Fogo, and he's actually become a defender or transition player, if you will. And something's come off of the other one because it can't be 100% full tilt boogie on everything.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, and it could just be, chalk it up to, a couple of down years, due in part to injuries.
Well, I think it's
So
also a little bit of box A, B, and C because I think a lot of these guys coming out of NCAA now have had the luckiness, I guess, of having these guys teach them, of having a Snyder teach them in Elite, of having
true.
Withers teach them over in Halifax and in Ontario, and having Baptiste teach them over in San Diego and a few of the other spots that he's been coaching. And they have this know-how that they're coming up with this and the abilities and between the athletic abilities and now the
Yeah.
technical
No,
abilities.
that's a good point.
So that's some of my theories, a little bit of A, B, and C. But for it all to happen at the same time, that's he has an off year. They don't have Teat due to some shoulder surgery. They didn't have anybody in the lineup here. Schellenberger wasn't in the lineup.
Hmm.
Antomin had another rough day.
Yeah. Yeah, just 9 saves on the day for him.
Which is double last week.
Yeah, compared to Sean Byrne, who made 19 saves on the day. So credit to
That's
him
incredible.
for
that
not
also says that
keeping this from being a shootout. So
But that also says that the offense for New York isn't faltering. They're getting opportunity. They're running into really good goaltending. But if your goaltending is making against you, making 19 saves, and you're able to put 10 in, that's 29 on net shots. That's a pretty good day at the
yeah,
office.
yep,
But
that's
it's also
official. They must have heard us back at the beginning of the year when the New York Charging were, 26 or 28 with shots on goal and
true. But I'm starting to look at coaching, shot selections, and where you're putting it, and scouting, and where the goalie's strong and not strong. Then it comes to a number of other things, other factors than just run shoot, because we know that that's not
yeah,
the case. Everything, especially in field, is blueprinted to the nth degree, almost over blueprinted. So if you're going to a goalie's strength and he's making 19 saves on you, maybe it's time to throw away the script and do what you're good at.
true.
But in the press conference, Pressler was talking about they never really had a chance this year because of injuries and a number of other factors to really gel, and it showed. Because you don't go from first to worst without a lot of factors happening.
Yeah.
At the same time. So do I think you blow it up? No, I think you wait to see when everybody's healthy and see what happens next year in training camp with new drafts and with everybody back as healthy, and then you reselect, because the beauty of this is, when there's only one league going on, you can pick a whole new team and go from worst to first. We've seen it year in, year out.
Right.
So nothing has to be oh my God, we're mired in this 5-year, we haven't been able to make the playoffs. It's not Major League Baseball where you haven't won a championship in 112 years. If that's the case, Lord help us. But what's on tap for today, Mike?
Today, well, the Water Dogs have already clinched, obviously, the top seed in the East, but they can They can finish 9-3 with a win over the Whip Snakes. The Whip Snakes cannot improve their position, obviously, with the win, as they're basically a game and a half behind the Cannons for second place in the East. So really, that game doesn't have a whole lot of implication other than Water Dogs maybe trying to keep it rolling, and the Whips, trying to get back to 500.
Right. Right.
And then following that, we have the final game of the regular season, which is the Outlaws and the Redwoods. And again, same. I don't want to say there's not any implications here. There are. The Outlaws have already clinched the second seed in the West. The Redwoods will clinch with a win, and they will clinch even with a loss as long as it's not by 12 or more goals.
Right. Also, a reminder that the Philadelphia Maryland game at 1:00 is on ABC linear TV. So if you're not in Ontario and need to watch the Jays versus the Yankees and watch the Jays surge their way into a wild card spot, this would be the game for you. Or picture in a picture. Jays in the small one, Maryland, Philadelphia in the big one. But just before we roll forward, again, Pat was there yesterday, and he sent us a couple of snips. I want to get the Philadelphia one, which has Kieran McCardle, Tierney, and CJ Kirsch jumps in near the end just to have a seat. But let's have a look at these couple of minutes.
And so seeing this year, like, it feels real special, feels real different. Can you just talk about how it feels for you as one of the veterans, one of the leaders of the team to get to be a part of this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the past 2 seasons we definitely had our struggles, but Coach T kept on believing in us. We kept on sticking together. We did a great job of drafting quality human beings into our locker room that did a great job of continuing the culture. Ever since I've been part of this Water Dogs team, it's been a phenomenal locker room, and that hasn't changed. Whether we're winning, losing, whatever it is, I leave my family every weekend to come to my second family, and I'm excited to do it. And it's been very special to be a Water Dog, and I take that with honor.
Coach Kostiuk was New York's leading scorer the last time you guys played him. This time he's completely wiped off the scoreboard. What was the key to stopping him at all today if he had a special defensive scheme lined up for him?
You guys are going to have to ask me real loud. I'm deaf as a doornail. Try it again.
If you want to hold a second, we can get CJ up here as well.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Just speak up. Yeah.
So Constable was New York's leading scorer the last time these two teams played. He was completely kept off the scoreboard today. Was there any special defensive scheme lined up for him, and would it work if there was?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is one of the, if not the best mid in the league, certainly one of them. Like a few of their other players who playing on one leg, but if you're going to play the Atlas, you got to know where he is. You had he and Shelley were all banged up. Trevor's out there on one leg and all that, but I think the world of those guys. Obviously, Trevor and Danny played for me at Denver, but Brian, he's a hell of a midfielder, and we had to pay attention to him because he takes 2-pointers like these two take layups, and they count twice as much. So we paid a lot of attention to him. I thought our short sticks that got matched on to him at times really did a good job, and we're just proud and happy to get out of it with a win.
Kieran, you talked about, you guys drafted quality human beings, and you see what Josh Yadro does today against his first.
And that's Coach Tierney, and of course CJ Kirsch just jumped in at the end there. Just a little snippet of their press conference. It's up on YouTube if you're interested, as well as the New York Atlas one is up on YouTube as well. If you're interested in the post-mortem from their season, make good point though. When you're able to hold off guys like Kostiuk, and that shuts down a whole aspect of the offense that you don't have to worry about. So, but heck of a season. We're after today, we're headed into the playoffs, and this is going to be exciting. Gotta love it, the Toronto Rock contingent that is carrying the Water Dogs. See what I did there, eh? Yep. Got CJ Kurth, man. Gotta love that. Karen McCardle, the sheriff. Yeah. Both
Yeah,
both
and I mean, I don't know how especially if they win today. I don't know how anyone doesn't have water dogs, or sorry, anyone outside of Utah doesn't have the water dogs as a favorite to win the PLL championship, because I mean they're just
absolutely.
firing on all cylinders right now, and
Since a very
not that the Archers aren't, because the Archers have put up some pretty big goal numbers in their last few games, but and of course they have a two-time championship game MVP in net for them. So
yeah. The funny thing is, Mike, is that they when we talked about it at the beginning of the year, they had a slow start, and we're wondering, oh, we've seen this kind of Water Dogs team before, and just missing, and how many games did they lose by one goal when they finished last? And
right,
everybody
right.
questioning everything, no 2-point goals, and everything else that was going on. And now, when it's all working, holy smokes! It's like the locomotive that got back on the tracks, and good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it looked worse because when they fell to 1-2, that was that 19-5 loss to the Cannons on the back end of a doubleheader,
Yeah.
and I mean, from there, if they win today, they'll have been 8-1
Right.
since that weekend, or since that loss, really.
Absolutely. Alrighty. And we will, of course, keep you up to date with everything going on PLL, recaps and everything. Plus, playoffs are about to hit. So stick with us, and we will keep you in the know, both on and off the field, for PLL and what's about to go down for this exciting playoff run now. I love this time of the year, man. Other than my summer's dwindling, I love this time of the year. Means I have to find a coat again. You folks down south don't know about that. Eduardo, you're still looking to trade. We're starting to get into that time of the year that maybe we'll talk about it. All right, let's move on over to Ontario Series Lacrosse, because we are almost at the end of that and knowing who's going to go to the President's Cup. We when we left off last Sunday, we were with a 1-0 Six Nations lead in the best of 5 series, and the Brooklyn Merchants even the series in Game 2 with a thrilling 10-9 victory over the Rivermen. Brooklyn came out firing, building a 6-3 first period lead behind 2 goals from Carter Page, contributions from Eddie Ferred, Ryan Langell, Landon Sinfield, and Lucas Littlejohn. The Rivermen battled back in a second, powered by incredible performances from Thunder Hill. Hill scored 4 times in that period as Six Nations erased the deficit, pulled even at 8. But Sinfield completed his hat trick just 23 seconds remaining in that period to send the Merchants to a 9-8 lead heading into the third. Hill continued his remarkable night in the third, scoring his 6th goal on the power play at 6:54 to once again bring the Rivermen even. With the game hanging in the balance, Ryan Langell delivered the decisive blow at 14:30, bouncing a shot home off a Carson Christie feed to put Brooklyn ahead for good. The Merchants held off the Rivermen the rest of the way and wound up with the 10-9 victory to tie that series at 1. Moving ahead to Friday evening, and again, Thunderhill was big in Game 2, and they couldn't pull off a victory. Zach Kerrigan had the game of games for the Merchants. He scored 6 goals in this game on Friday night, but could not be enough as the Rivermen beat the Merchants 10. Now, this game was more of a game that I have expected throughout this series because there's no love lost between these two teams throughout history. And this was no exception. In the third period, tempers boiled over, and we had a number of to-dos going on, setting the stage for what should be one heck of a game tonight in Game 4. Six Nations held off a storming Brooklyn Merchant comeback to earn an 11-10 victory in Game 3. It was just 2-1 after one. You would think that this was going to be a pitcher's duel. Six Nations used a 4-goal run in the second, carry a 7-5 advantage into the final frame, with Braden Saris, Jonathan Gagliardi scoring twice each. Kerrigan delivered the dominant performance for Brooklyn, again finishing with 6 goals and 1 assist, as the Merchants battled within 1 in the final minute. And despite the late transition goal from Jack Oldman, Brooklyn ran out of time. I'm starting to think if there was 2 or 3 minutes left in this game, we might be talking about overtime, because you watched the pendulum swing in this game. And again, once tempers started going, it seemed to wake up the Merchants out of their funk that they have been in. And, they started playing what I know as Brooklyn Merchant ball. 2-1 right now is the series lead. It could be over tonight if Six Nations puts together a dominant performance as they have been able to. If not, we have one more game going off. I believe it's Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just enter. Monday, sorry, at the ILA. It'll be tomorrow night at the ILA if Brooklyn pulls this one off 8 o'clock. But if you're looking for a good thing to do on a Sunday evening, and it is 6 p.m. at the Iroquois Park Sports Center in Whitby, I will be there. And if you're there, please come up and say hi. Love chatting. Love talking about lacrosse, all forms of lacrosse. We can talk about Minto. We can talk about Founders. We can talk about PLL. We can, of course, talk about the upcoming Mann Cup and the playoffs that are in WLA, MSL, and, of course, OSL, and all the things that have gone on and are going on. And would love to chat. Love to see everybody. So if you have an opportunity, get over there. It is not expensive, and it is a great way to spend a Sunday evening in your summer. And, of course, after the game, the King's Arms across the street's a great thing, overlooking the water and sitting on a patio having a cup of coffee, really. But, yeah, I'm telling you, this is going to be the game, because there's no way that Brooklyn is just going to lay down and say, no, you go to the President's Cup. So a little bit of strange officiating in that game, but then again, we're known for that. So, but again, once the tempers started flailing, all of a sudden it seemed as though Brooklyn woke up. And let's see if they can carry it into Game 4, or if Six Nations is able to, quaff the fire as they have been. And, Thunder Hill, he won the scoring title. How are you leaving him alone? I would have somebody trying to steamroll him through the boards if I was in the Merchants. But anyways, that's going on today. Now, that brings us over to should I say where the big boys play? But mostly they're playing both of them anyways. We finally got started with WLA finals action, Mike. And we have my Shamrocks. More good news. But, however, this was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, especially with the Adanacs having to fight their way right to the very end to get into the finals.
Yeah, just to catch everyone up, that first round series between Coquitlam and Maple Ridge did end up going the distance to 5 games. Last Sunday, the Adanacs beat the Berards in Maple Ridge 9-6 to take a 2-1 series lead. Maple Ridge came back Tuesday in Coquitlam and beat the Adanacs 9-7 in Game 4 to force a Game 5, in which Coquitlam came away with the series victory with a 7-4 win. Just looking to see if there's anything super notable. If anything, it did it did live up to the goaltender dual billing. Jack Cask was, up to the task for the most part. Uh, you know, making making 100 saves over the over the final 3 games to try to keep
Absolutely
to try to
unbelievable.
keep Maple Ridge alive.
Incredible
Um,
numbers.
one note, maybe on the slightly more upsetting side, Maple Ridge did file a protest. Assuming it's a formal protest of some kind with the WLA, claiming that Adnax player Ty Banks was not eligible, even though he played in games 1 and 2. I do see him in the lineup as for game 3. He had a goal and assist as well.
Mhm.
Not sure what's going to happen with that. I'm going to guess it's like a lot of the other issues that we've been discussing, and it's going to kind of get looked the other way until the Man Cup is lifted. At which
Well,
point
just a small thing too is that the AA keeps making news for the wrong reasons because they had this statement as well, and that was mistake during calculations for their 3-star award, and they're pleased to know Marcus Claridge is the 3-star award. It's stats, man, stats. It's there. It's in front of you. Come on, we can do better than that.
I hope so. We'll definitely start with this.
Marshall King will forget that if he
with
puts a Man Cup ring on, though. I'm sure he'll forget it.
yeah. He won't, and he did his part last night in giving the Shamrocks a 7-6 win in game 1 of the final against Coquitlam. So they have a 1-0 series lead now in the best of 7, with game 2 going Monday in Coquitlam.
Let's remember something from a couple of years ago, though, when Victoria and Six Nations were in the Man Cup here in Ontario. And game 1, a dominant performance by Marshall King back in 2004, if I remember correctly. And um, unfortunately, during that game, of the 6 goals he scored or something, he broke his thumb, and that was the end of him, and that was the end of Victoria during that little mainstay. So, is he important to that group? Oh, yes, he is.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, he is. So, if he stays healthy and he is looking like he is in shape like he was 2 years ago, if Victoria makes it into the Man Cup and you have this with a number of other pieces of firepower, this could be, not to say that Peterborough doesn't upset Six Nations because they are running on full tilt boogie too. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But whoever is into the Man Cup against Victoria will be seeing a very powerful West team, which we're not used to. And remember, there's no extra players coming anywhere. That rule has now been scrapped. What you see is what you get, which is what should be happening. So, anyway, sorry, Mike. Sorry to interrupt. Upcoming.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, go for it. Again, game 2 goes Monday in Coquitlam. Game 3 is going to be Wednesday at the Q Center in Victoria, and game 4 will be Friday back in Coquitlam.
Right.
Uh,
The other thing to remember too with Kristen Del Bianco in the Adanax net is at any given time he can steal a game or two for you, and he damn well almost stole this one with 45 saves.
he did, and I was going to say, Coquitlam, just punching up the box score here. Victoria led 5-2 after the first period in this game. And after the second period, found themselves trailing 6-5.
Yep.
So
The Del Bianco factor, because after the first period, they scored what, 2? And I was just in the third. That's it.
Yeah. And it ended up being just enough, unfortunately, because Coquitlam got shut out in the third period.
Del
For
Bianco hit 33 saves in those 2 periods too.
Yeah. For Coquitlam, Adam Noakes, a pair of goals. Sean Kriwakan, reigning defender of the year, had 2 goals. Keen Moon with a goal and an assist. Thomas Semple had a goal, and Kyle Brunch had 3 assists. Del Bianco made 45 saves in the game. For Victoria, as we mentioned, Marshall King, he had a goal and an assist, along with Zach Mans and Eli McLaughlin. Chris Wardle had a pair of goals. Brody Wade a goal. Jacob Hickey a shorthanded goal with 43 seconds left to steal the win. You had 2 assists from Matthew Gauthier. Tyrell Hamer Jackson, 12 of 15 on faceoffs, and that could be another X factor too. Should they advance to the Mann Cup, is having Hamer Jackson at the dot. Chris Riglieri got the start for Victoria. He made 35 saves in the win.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I just want to add one more thing for the President's Cup, seeing the Snake Island hat in your background there.
Yes.
They are up 2-0, I believe, on Akwesasne, on the Bucks for.
Yeah, they are a definite favorite. Them, of course, Langley or Ladner, sorry, and let's see what happens out of Ontario. This is going to be a hell of a tournament because there's
Yeah.
so many good teams in there. Snake Island, although they lost some players, have regained others, and I look forward to seeing another really good showing. They were just super when it came to the playoffs, last President's Cup. And of course, that dominant performance against Brooklyn in the finals, in which they had the perfect game plan to shut down a rambunctious team that liked to run and just hammered them through the turf. And, literally took advantage of every mistake that Brooklyn made. It's the veteran savvy and how to deal with. And it goes from the top down to the bottom of that. They also made some really cool miniature stuff too. Anyways, upcoming is tomorrow. The Shamrocks and Addenocks play game 2. Wednesday is game 3. Friday game 4. And by showtime next week, we'll be into game 5. So let's see. Should be an interesting thing. I don't expect this to be a short series.
No, I don't either.
Though I'd like to think that this is in 4, but no, I don't think so. Now,
if it is, it's going to be 3 more games exactly like this.
well, yeah, this is a punch you in the mouth kind of thing, and there's no running away. This is to say one of the time of year I love because there's none of these 20-4 blowouts. These are 7-6, 10-9, 5-4 games, and the MSL is no different. Peterborough, they peaked at the right time with the right lineup. And you take a look at how savvy the moves were and getting Ryan Lansbury. And he has been just an absolute juggernaut for this team. Signing Rob Hellier, an absolute juggernaut for this thing. Getting Thomas Hogarth back. Having Braden Saris in their lineup. Just absolutely. They're a big, strong team. And they took an Oakville team that has been great all year, but just a little bit young, and have some terrific pieces to build on. But they just weren't able to get over that hump. And game 4 of their best of 5 series took place in Peterborough on Tuesday, I believe. And the Lakers defeated the Rock 14-8 in that thing. And they won the best of 5 series, 3-1. And off the hop, the teams traded goals. It was a narrow 5-4 lead, despite Oakville's 21-13 advantage in shots. So if you want to talk about an emerging star, Drew Hutchison down this last month or so has been absolutely sensational. Remember, he shut down the Chiefs during the regular season entirely in the one real loss that Six Nations had to Peterborough. Lakers created some separation in the second, taking 9-7 lead into the final period. And in that final period, well, they just went crazy. Ryan Lansbury powered the Lakers offense with 2 goals and 9 assists. Tell me that wasn't a good move getting him in the lineup? Right. Where'd he come from? That's right, from Oakville. Now, granted, they got Alex Simmons back in that lineup, but through some other moves. But still, 2 goals, 9 assists in the deciding game. Rob Hellier, 4 times scored, 3 assists. Kind of makes my point, doesn't it, Mike?
Yep.
Alex Simmons had 4 goals and an assist for Oakville, but Peterborough's late surge, including 2 empty net goals by Matt Gilray, and that sealed the deal. And now they face the Six Nations Chiefs. And to take a look at that schedule, Game 1 is on Tuesday over at the ILA. Game 2 on Thursday over in Peterborough. Game 3 is on Sunday back at the ILA. Game 4, Tuesday, back at Peterborough. And then, if necessary, ILA on the 27th, which is a Thursday. PMC, which is a Sunday. And if necessary, back at the ILA September the 1st, which is a Tuesday. So Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, for those of you keeping score for the next 2 weeks for MSL to see who will be hosting the Mann Cup. It's not even just going, it's who's hosting the Mann Cup. I have a feeling that this is going to be just a barn burner of a series because you have stars on both sides. You have depth on both sides. Both teams are healthy. And I also put the deciding factor there. There's one other little thing there that we haven't talked about is Brad McCulley. He's healthy, and he has been a force all summer. If you need a goal, he can give you a goal. If you need someone to be punched in the mouth, he'll do that too. If you need someone to take one for the team, he'll do that. He is your, you have Ian McKay as your Swiss Army knife for Six Nations. You have Brad McCulley for your Swiss Army knife for Peterborough. So when we take a look at position by position, though you have more named All-Stars on Six Nations, I would say you have almost as many on the Peterborough squad. And I don't think that this is a fluke, that this is your 1-2 final, even though the standings don't reflect it. Peterborough had a number of different lineups throughout the year and injuries and all kinds of things going on. But when the chips came down in that last month, you take a look at the team that Peterborough fielded and the scores that they had, and I would put that Lakers squad up against almost anybody. And I think that we're in for one heck of a series. Flow Live. If you want to catch any and all of those games, which will include the Mann Cup. From what I'm hearing, it'll be on Flow Live as well. Now,
Excellent.
There are rumors, Mike, that Flow Sports is going to be doing NLL, that they're going away from ESPN, TSN, and going to Flow. I haven't seen anything concrete. I have seen a number of different rumblings. Me personally, I have worked with Flow and the people of Flow Sports all summer with the MSL, and they are fantastic people to work with. They get it. They understand all the different things to do with sports. Have there been some glitches? Yeah, of course there is, especially when you're talking about some of these arenas in the summer. Now, when you're talking about NLL arenas, I don't think you're going to have those kind of glitches because you're going to have better control rooms. You're going to have better places and hot spots and all the rest of it to get these things out. When you're talking about trying to get a game out of Jack Berger Arena in Coburg, which you're going to have to set up your own antenna, maybe that's a little more of a challenge than setting it up over a Key Bank Center in Buffalo. So I think that you're going to get quality performance and quality programming out of that. Now, selfishly, being part of the directorate of major series, this would be a really good selling ploy if it goes with the NLL as well, because if you buy the year package, which is, I believe, $160 for the year US, a little bit more with Canadian shekels. However, if you would get the entire NLL season and then the MSL season as well, maybe that would be worth it for you. Plus, there is a ton, and I mean a ton, of other sports on there. If you are into NASCAR, it's there. If you are into cricket, it's there. If you're into hockey, AHL, it's there. If you are into other types of field lacrosse, it's there from all the different universities. If you are into gymnastics, if you're into weightlifting, if you're into, they're all there, man. There's a ton of sports on it. So, oh, I don't like it, man. Too expensive to watch for 10 games. There's lots more to watch there. It's just another viewing option to watch most of your sports. And, just a thought. However, with the new platform that the NLL has announced, that it is also going to try and reestablish this decrepit website of theirs, in which every other website, including ours, is more up to date than theirs. That's frightening. So if they are going to take care of this and do that, more AI generated though, let's hope that we have ourselves some great stats. Remember, NLL stats for your stats. Graham Perro has done a fantastic job putting that together. It's what I use. It's what most of us use for any and all of our statistics, because it goes back decades and it is up to date probably to yesterday's game, which is amazing. And if you need stats on officials, stats on teams itself, stats on players, stats on attendance, he's got everything. So kudos to Graham Perro for doing all that and keeping that going, and just an absolute amazing job. But I'm hoping that with this new system, that the NLL is going to bring their website into maybe the 20th century. A little hard to get them into the 21st century just yet, but let's walk before we run, and actually have something that we can look at that's worth something. And I'm curious to see how this all works out, platforms and everything else. But I think we got a few other issues before that, Mike. We got to try and figure out where all the teams are going to be.
Yeah. The clock's ticking. We've
probably
got about a week and a half that an announcement needs to be made, or we're going to run into a real issue.
I already think we're running into an issue. I already think that we don't have enough time. We seem to be doing this as our yearly thing. We seem to be doing this every year now. That crunch time becomes, the lunch bag letdown, and we just kind of, hope it gets better as we move along. This time we can't really do that. If you're, if you don't have homes for two of your teams, it's not a good thing. I'm really hoping that they're doing a lot of work from the back. You haven't heard a word, not a peep. It's almost like dealing with the OLA. By the way, haven't heard a thing about that official either. It's been 2 weeks.
No,
not a word. I'm hoping that they're not hoping it goes away, because there's too many people have seen videos that know it and are talking about it and continue to talk about it, even though it may not be all over social media. It's still in conversation. So I'm hoping that at least, like I said last week, at least make a statement that you've acknowledged it, that we know you're working on it. That sometimes is enough to remedy it and give you enough time to do it correctly. Because again, in all, seriousness, these things are done away from the press, away from the public. We don't need to get public approval. We don't need to do all the other things. They need to just do their jobs. However, when you have something this big on all fronts, you owe it to your constituents to at least keep them in the loop and keep them in the know that you are doing something, not hoping it goes away. Because that just is not a good remedy, not a good look. But anyways, any thoughts, Mike, on the upcoming TV or upcoming free agency or upcoming, do we move it back, forward, upside down?
I mean, I'll probably stick to my same point. You got a week and a half. Get it figured out. You got to say something within a week and a half. Clock is ticking.
Yeah,
because
the worst thing that
you can't push free agency any further. You can't be pushing free agency past the draft. I can't even imagine what a nightmare that would be.
Yeah. Well, you can't. If you're going to be drafting, how do you know what you're drafting if you, yeah, it, it's a mess.
Can't and I guess memo to the league: the players' union could make this even worse by filing something.
Uh-huh.
Any sort of grievance. I mean, this is just kind of coming to me now. Players' union could go ahead and file some sort of a grievance or something right now that would completely destroy any semblance of a schedule you have right now.
I don't even understand how they can work together a schedule if you don't even know how many teams are going to be there and where they are. So that's on hold.
I mean, well, I'm not even talking about like next year's playing schedule. I'm talking about this timeline right now
Right.
with free agency starting on the 1st, the draft happening when, the 10th or something, 15th?
If it's then, I've heard as
Yeah,
much bringing it back to October 1st. So,
whenever it is. I mean, you need to, I think the league needs to, and maybe they are considering it, but, it just occurred to me as we're talking about this
I'm hoping they're
that
working
the
part and
players'
parcel.
union could file a grievance and whatever they need to do, whether it's a arbitrary hearing or something like that. Now you're forced to schedule something, and whatever little timeline you have left here is now getting upended.
Right. Right. I'm hoping that they're working part and parcel with each other because on a topic like this, everybody has to be on the same page for it to work, for it to be that we don't have injunctions and all kinds of other things going on that are going to hold things up, move things up, put things back, and really destroy uh, momentum of a season, especially after the season we just had.
I hope so,
We
but I
narrowly
mean,
avoided it being canceled too because of no CBA. Wouldn't it be great just to have like one season where we have a free agency when it's supposed to be, we have a draft, we have trading camp, we have a season, and we have no outside factors? Wouldn't it be great? We did that before, eh? Yesteryear.
they did, but I just I have a bad feeling that this is going to be a yearly thing, and by the time all this gets figured out, the following year, it's going to be more of the same because the CBA is going to be up for renewal.
God, can you imagine if we go around full circle?
That certainly looks like where we're headed.
Yeah, but I think that the, the misnomer last time was that the players thought the league was making a lot more money than they actually are, and this time around, maybe that kind of proof is no, we're not, because you take a look at how many teams are shifting and moving and losing ownerships and trying to find new homes. That maybe they understand that this is not the big four yet. It's still a fringe thing that's trying to become, and hopefully after the Olympics, with the correct people doing things,
And
will.
that's fine. The union can think that, and if it sounds like it's on the right track, great. But I mean, I was just I hate to invoke the long term. I was really thinking about the short term, meaning like up
Mhm.
through the draft here. If it's just more ramifications or implications coming in.
Yeah.
If you're about to hit, I want you to think of a player that's about to hit unrestricted free agency for the first time. They just whatever, they're 33, let's just say. You're about to hit unrestricted free agency for the very first time. And now your window to talk to teams has been shrunk to 10 days because the league couldn't find owners and they're not saying anything. And, you know, beyond even my, my thought of, the players union filing a grievance and, causing a delay in this timeline for even one arbitrary hearing to hash everything out. now the union's going to have that in their back pocket. That, hey, we're not forgetting when you guys shrunk free agency to 10 days and took this class of new UFAs and shortened their window to probably sign, to potentially sign somewhere else.
Right.
Or return home, Hey, I'm a BC guy, but, I've been playing with Toronto for 10 years. Now I'd like to go home, but maybe I can't go home now because free agency ran so short and it made more sense for me to re-sign with Toronto for a year just so that I could be sure that I had a job.
Right. Right. Well, we'll see. I'm hoping that we hear some, as I say every week, that we hear some news this week. I hear news, but I never hear the right one. I'm just like,
yeah.
So let's hope that they get it all together here.
You heard the right news this week. You got 3 extra bonus points in the Bills.
That's true. I did. I got the right news on that one. Yeah, I'm trying to work the gamut here. My Atlas didn't do so well, but my Shamrocks did okay. They almost put me in tears, but we'll see. But I say we'll be busy doing Minto. We'll be busy doing Founders Cup this week as well. So stick with us. Last week we had a great week with the Carroll Patterson Cup. So again, lots of things on the go. Stick with us. We are your Costco of lacrosse, your one-stop shop for everything and all things lacrosse, news, and everything else that goes with it. Again, it is our privilege as well as our pleasure to get you the news up to date and accurate. So we will do our very best to get it to you as quick as possible, but most importantly, as accurate as humanly possible for you as well. A reminder that we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on Twitter, X, as well as being on www.streampunkentertainment.com. So please check back a number of times in the day because the news is always changing and we have our fingers as always on the pulse of the situation that we can take care of everything for you, that you don't have to search all over the place. Let us do it for you and get it to you. And tell your friends about us. And also YouTube. Let's not forget about that. Because all kinds of cool things out there and more coming all the time. Anyways, that'll bring us to last words. Mike, I think we're going to you this week first.
Yeah,
Shawn, did you want? No, never mind. Shawn's camping.
Again, congratulations to the Maryland Charm. Just an outstanding WLL final. For the Water Dogs, get another win. I mean, just at this point, no reason to take your foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah, keep momentum going.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about having the best record in the league with a 2-game margin in a 12-game season.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. And keep marching toward the PLL championship. Out west, this like we said, this is going to be a heck of a series with the Shamrocks and the Adnacs.
Absolutely. WLA TV if you're interested, and if you stay up late, or if you're on the West Coast, and by all means, you will not be disappointed in what you're watching because man, some great lacrosse going on. MSL starts on Tuesday. That's going to be big time. Remember, Flow Live for that, and of course. Lacrosse Canada TV if you want to catch the Minto or the Founders. And remember, the medal rounds are free. So if you don't want to watch all the round robin stuff, by the end of the week, just check on with Lacrosse Canada for the websites for Minto and for Founders to see the schedules, when the games are, what games you want to catch, and catch them. If you are in the area, St. John, New Brunswick for the Founders or Calgary for the Minto, by all means, please go there, support the teams. It is great when we have full arenas, energetic arenas, and the players would appreciate that as well. You're not going to be disappointed. I think both of these tournaments are going to be spectacular, and I think we're in line for a really great President's Cup again, as well as, eventually when the Mann Cup hits in September. We are just lucky against lucky against lucky for the amount of fantastic lacrosse we are getting and in store for. So please, let's give it a look there, and let's support our guys. Until next week, that wraps us up for this week, Mike. What a week. Big time week, as always. Shawn will be with us again next week, so look forward to having him back and talking to us about Minto Cup action and different things going on there. And until then, remember, folks, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, and until we meet up again next Sunday, have a great week. Talk to you all soon.